They ready for you.
Yes, sir. Let me go to airplane mode here.
I don't think they're going that.
Well, that'll keep the phone from ringing.
Oh, okay. You're gonna be in the last room on the left here.
What is your name, sir?
My name's Larry Hermans.
Good to meet you.
Hello, sir. We'll start in just a few minutes.
All right, take your time.
You do that in a blink of an eye. I didn't see it sometimes. I'm ready. Sir, did you have an informal meeting on this case prior to this hearing?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. My name is Rick Tobias. I am chairman of this panel of the Comal County Appraisal Review Board. I have colleagues to my right and left. Would they please identify themselves for the record?
My name's Robert Dunnigan.
Kurt Anderson, bye. And then to your right are representatives of the appraisal district. Would they please identify themselves for the record?
Dawn Villarreal. Jennifer Cinder.
And sir,
I couldn't understand the other person.
Dawn
Aye.
Villarreal. Jennifer Cinder.
Jennifer Cinder.
I'm sorry.
Jennifer Cinder.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. It's good that everyone hears. Sir, and then would you please state your name and your relationship to the property?
Douglas Kirk,
Okay,
and I guess I would be the owner.
okay. Neither I nor any member of this ARB panel work for the appraisal district. We have been appointed to perform an independent review of your protest. Any decision we make may be appealed by you. Information about your appeal options will be included with the board order of determination that I'll cover a little bit later. On the table in front of you, you should have three documents. The first one is from the comptroller's office requesting that you complete a voluntary survey regarding your experience today. We encourage you to take this with you, fill it out, mail it in, or you can also go to the website noted on the reverse side and complete it online. The second document is a half page, should have our names, and advise you of the statement that we have not communicated with another person about your protest prior to this hearing. Members of this panel have signed that statement, which is part of the records. And then lastly, there should be an affidavit of sworn testimony. If you could please review that, print your name, sign your name, and then provide that to Ms. Villarreal before we begin this process. And then let me advise you that the district representatives have already been sworn in and that this session is being recorded. I need to ask you, sir, if you're certified as an appraiser by the Texas Appraiser Licensing and Certification Board?
No.
Okay. For the record, this protest is for case number 13002 and references property ID 420416 for the tax year 2022. We have allocated about 15 minutes for your hearing. I'll be asking the district to give us a brief introduction of your protest. You then will have the option of deciding who goes first in the presentation. Each side will have an opportunity to ask questions of the other after the respective presentations. And then after final and closing comments, I will close the evidentiary portion of this hearing, and this panel will discuss openly what we've learned. A motion will be made, and a decision regarding the protest will be raised. Sir, did you request any information from the district? And if you did you receive it? If you didn't request anything?
I did, and I have it here.
Okay, very good. So at this point, let's begin with a brief introduction from the district.
I just want to make sure that we are all on the same page. This
Okay.
is going to be a protest based on only situs is the incorrect. The protest is other, and it's situs incorrect. So that's what we'll be speaking of today, not the value or inequity, but the situs. So I wanted to bring that up and let you know that.
Was that your?
Situs?
That's the location.
Situs is where the location.
Okay.
Sir, is that your understanding of the protest?
Yeah, that appears to be the form that I submitted, and it appears to be my handwriting.
Okay, so we're not questioning the value. This is strictly, as the form indicates here, that the situs or the location is incorrect, is the extent of your protest.
That's correct.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And I want to pull up this is, this is the Canal Pleasant District. This is personal property card for 2022. We have a situs of 7401 at room 2673, Raymond Lake, Texas 78933. Doing business.
I'm just trying to write this.
7401, FM 2670, Canyon Lake, the second. Lake. 713.
Okay.
This is property ID 420416. Owner is Morton Falls Publishing Company.
Okay.
And that's basically,
Description of the situs.
yes.
Okay. So, sir, would you like to begin with your presentation, or what?
No, I'd like the district to go first, and may I make a request with the AC on? I am struggling to hear, so can everyone speak up, please?
Sure. Feel free to raise your hand if you can't hear us, just so that we know that you're, making sure you hear us.
You're coming through well,
Okay.
but the ladies are not.
Okay, I'm just gonna bring up the real property that this business personal property is tied to, which is 82819. And we have it as Market Road 2673. And this is where it is.
John, if this wasn't a situs issue, what are we talking about? Is it a business personal
It's a
property?
business personal property,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
It's Morton Publishing, is that correct? Morton Falls Publishing Company.
Okay.
And if I go back to the evidence. We never received a rendition with the situs address. So we have it linked to the real property account. And the real property account is,
So is this really a question of failure to receive notice?
just that we have the wrong situs.
Okay, I guess I'm trying to figure out the significance.
The
of
situs, you can have Disney World on there and it won't matter. It's not gonna matter because the mailing address is correct. It's 1850 Old Sattler Road. The situs here is usually put on by an appraiser through a rendition, or it's put on out in the field, or some other type of address change that's made through the state comptroller. Any kind of information that we can get, it will go there in the situs 7401 Echo 2673.
So what is the consequence of having the wrong situs? What does that mean?
Nothing. The situs basically is for the appraiser's information.
Okay.
When they're out there, they go to 7401 FM 2673, and there's Morton Falls
Because
Publishing.
like you said, all mailing notices go to.
It goes to the Morton Falls Publishing Company, care of Douglas Kirk, 1850 Old Sattler Road.
Okay.
That's what's the most important. This is more just for informational and for our information.
Okay. All right.
But the address in question is the 7401.
Yes,
Okay,
is
not
this,
the, yeah.
not this one, this right here. We have a lot of accounts that don't even have a situs on it.
Okay. So, sir, do you want to go ahead and present your information?
Is that all the evidence they're going to produce?
Well, it's not a question of value, it's a question of the situs, and that's my understanding, correct?
Yeah, this is, looks like we had something sent to us. We sent out talking about a rendition, and we got not located in Cornell County back in 2019, saying that 1850 Old Sattler Road was not located in Cornell County. And there's the address. This is from the State Comptroller's Office. The sales taxpayer search of Douglas Kirk has two active accounts. One is at 1850 Old Sattler Road, and the other one, Animals of the Performing Arts at 1500 Sattler Road. This is information that comes from the State Comptroller, and they get that information from when the paperwork is filled out. Again, this is just information backing up the 1850 Old Sattler Road. This is the map quest for Morton Falls Publishing. It says 1850 Old Sattler Road. Again, that's where all the mail is being sent to. Another website showing that the 1850 Old Sattler Road. I know you're probably wondering, well, where did the
740.
yeah, it could have came from the appraiser that went out there. Go ahead.
But I guess you said the consequence of having an
There's
incorrect
not.
situs, there's no harm, no foul. Okay. So, sir, I guess I'm trying to understand what is the consequence from your perspective of having the wrong or incorrect situs?
Well, I'd like to see all the evidence first because I'm going to address all the evidence that they sent to me. I don't know why she just turned it off.
Because we are done with our evidence.
That's all they have to present.
Okay, so they're not going to present it, but I'm going to talk about it.
Do you have some things that you want to hand out to us?
No, they already have the evidence. They produced the evidence, and so the evidence is available. I don't have to produce it again. I'm just going to address it.
We're totally separate from the appraisal district, so this will be the first time we're hearing anything, so we don't have any additional knowledge of whatever circumstances or...
I understand what you're saying. I don't understand why they cut off presenting the evidence.
What evidence do you want to see, sir?
Everything that they presented to me, they should show to you. If they don't want to present it, then
Well,
they're further destroying their case.
Okay.
The question
I'll turn
that I
this back on
understand...
then. You can see where it says Morton Falls Publishing Company. Physical location, 7401 FM 2673 Canyon Lake. Mailing address, 1850 Old Sattler Road, Canyon Lake. Those are the two statuses, or the two addresses that we're talking about. Physical location, 7401 FM 2673 is exactly what we have for the physical location. This is the Morton Falls Publishing Company newsletter. So there's the answer to our question. Where did we get 7401 FM 2673? That's our evidence. I don't know what else you want us to present.
Do you want to present anything else?
That's all I need to present, sir.
Okay, so you don't want to present the rest of it.
What are you specifically referring to?
Well, letters from the Bear Appraisal District, letters from the attorney at the Bear Appraisal District. I don't know, if they don't want to present it, that's fine.
Since you questioned the situs, what is your opinion the situs should be?
Well, don't I get to ask them some questions based on the evidence they've presented?
Feel free.
Okay. First of all, let me ask this, is the chief appraiser here?
More than likely, I don't, you know, Booker's.
I've not met the new chief
Probably
appraiser.
is. He's probably-
Are you confident in the data that you presented, that it's accurate?
Well, this came from Morgan Falls Publishing Company, correct? Is that one of your newspapers or news articles?
Okay, I'm not sure we have a dialogue. I'm asking the question, are you?
Yes, I'm confident that this came from Morgan Falls Publishing Company. Listing the physical location of Morgan Falls Publishing.
Okay, so on that first slide that you showed, which is titled the Business Personal Property Card 2022, it says up in the upper right-hand corner that the last inspection date was 9/16/2019. That's up in the corner there. How was that inspection done?
I would not be able to tell you. I don't know. That person is no longer here. And sometimes that last inspection date might have been an inspection of paperwork. It might have been an inspection of a rendition, which apparently there's never been a rendition, right? So I could not tell you how that inspection was done.
Okay, you also presented, it's 2 or 3 slides down, right there, stop right there. You have it highlighted. Is there anything in the Texas Property Tax Code that says that I have to present a rendition in all 254 counties in Texas? Is there anything in this book that says that?
If you have business personal property in 254 counties, then you're going to be required to send 254 renditions.
Okay. If I have business personal property in one county, do I have to present it in more than one county?
If you have business personal property in only one county, you are to send the rendition to that one county that business personal property sits in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if you'll go a couple other slides, you presented a photograph or a image. There, stop right there. That's date stamped April 18th, 2019, and there's a statement, my handwriting, my signature, not located in Comal County. Did the appraisal district see that?
I'm sure they did, it's right here. But that address, 1850, and the address that you put physical address on your newspaper is located in Comal County.
Okay, so we're talking about business personal property,
Correct.
but you're going to say that that address, which it says in care of, that's what that symbol means in front of my name, and somebody comes along and says, this is not located in Comal County, you say, oh, well, the address is, so therefore the business is.
Morton Falls Publishing Company, care of Douglas Kirk, at 1850 Old Sackler Road. That's where you get your mail for Morton Falls Publishing Company. Morton Falls Publishing Company published their physical address, which is in Comal County. So to see this not located in Comal County, why would we take it off the roll, Morton Falls Publishing Company, when you clearly even put on your newspaper that it's located in Comal County?
We'll address that in a second. Okay, so you also presented a slide. The title is Sales Taxpayer Search. And it has, if you'll scroll up a little bit, it has 3 locations. Look, Animals of the Performing Arts, 8831 Sagebrush, San Antonio. Now that's as of 1977, and that ran through 1981. Then there's 2 additional sales tax permits. Do you have any idea what Animals of the Performing Arts means? I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to interject. As I mentioned earlier at the beginning, we have an allocation of about 15 minutes for a hearing. Well, what our task is to address the protest that was filed. It's my understanding, based on the protest, that it's a question of situs. The district has presented information to reflect on their records what situs is. So for purposes of expediency, what should the situs be so that we can come up with a decision?
Well, first of all, the Texas Property Tax Code doesn't limit this hearing to 15 minutes. So I would ask you to indulge me, if we're going to put this to rest, which has been going on now for 4 years, you should take the time to listen to me.
Well, I'll take exception to your 15 minutes because if you read the manual, the district or the district appraisal district, or the review board has the option to set the hearing procedures, and those are published on the board right there. It determines that we have the discretion to set the limits because of the abundance of cases that we have. I'm trying to be flexible with you, so I would like to get to the crux of the issue because.
Well, we're about to.
Okay, so what should that line read? Because that's essentially what this is coming to, right?
Okay, I haven't started my presentation yet. I'm still asking them about the evidence that they presented to you, which contains false statements of fact.
Well, I think.
These documents are inaccurate.
Well, in all fairness, sir.
Wouldn't you like to know that?
In all fairness, sir, whether she knows anything about the Animals of Performing Arts has really no bearing on getting to the issue of situs. So let's get to the issue of what we're here to resolve.
Well, then why did she present it as evidence in this case?
Well, because going to this point right here on this slide.
Okay, let's skip to that. And I'm under protest. I'm going to skip a bunch of evidence. Okay, just so you understand that it could cause you to make the wrong decision.
Well, if you would please explain to me what your position is.
Let me ask the district, what is the date on that publication?
Let's see.
I mean, if you have some information that supersedes that, we're more than willing to listen to that. I mean, they're doing a good faith effort to apply the appropriate information. So,
With all due respect, this is not a good faith effort. I have told them, I have written letters, I have communicated with the tax assessor collector, I've communicated with the previous chief appraiser. There's no good faith effort here. They know that's wrong. There's no date on it.
What is donations accepted? You have Old Sattler Canyon Lake. That's where the money goes, right?
What's the date on this?
I'm not worried about the date.
I am.
I'm worried about the address. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. So is a
The
business
money's going to that address right there, Old Sattler Road.
is a business allowed to move in the state of Texas from point A to point B?
absolutely.
Okay, so what's the date on that photograph?
Okay, if you have better information, tell us what it is so that we can take that notation.
Okay, well, I'll just summarize this. Take me at my word. There's a bunch of other documents here. They're false. They have outdated information. They have email addresses that are been out of business for 10 or 12 years. They have phone numbers that are wrong. The material they're presenting here is false.
Okay. Now, I guess the other, like I said, we're not part of the appraisal district. And as the district has indicated, regardless of what they put up there on situs, it has no consequence on valuation.
We're not talking about valuation.
Exactly.
We're talking about location.
Right. And so all I'm trying to say is, what is the consequence of changing this? So go ahead and tell us what you think what the answer is.
Okay, so under protest, I'm going to quit asking questions of the district. I think I'm entitled to go over every piece of evidence that they presented. And you're asking me not to do that. So I'm saying, okay, under protest. So I will present some evidence. The first bit of evidence. How many copies do you need?
If you have 4, that would be great. If you only have 3, you can give it. You have an extra?
Okay, I have one to read from.
I'll share it.
Now, I apologize for how small that is. That's how it comes across. If you'll get your spectacles out and look at that, you'll see that that is a certificate issued by Bexar County, or City of San Antonio. It shows the address for Morton Falls Publishing Company as 8831 Sagebrush, San Antonio, Texas 78217. And there's a date on there. I can't read it, but I'm sure you can.
The date's August 19th, 2020.
Okay?
So are you suggesting then that the business is located in Bexar County? Is that what you're saying?
That's absolutely what I'm saying. It has moved. The business has moved.
Okay.
What is that donations, what does that mean accepted? Where does that money go? What address? It says Old Sattler Road, that's where the money goes.
What's the date on that?
I don't care about the date.
Well, you better care about the date because that's old, outdated information. What's presented there is wrong. It's incorrect.
That's not your email address? DouglasKurtGBTC.com?
Yes, that email address is correct. Now, the next thing I want to present to you,
Well, but further, okay, so what is the significance of this? This is not that address on FM 2673, so there might be multiple offices or buildings of Morton Falls Publishing Company. I guess I'm trying to understand what you're trying to get to.
I'm trying to get to the business moved. It is not located in Comal County. Why is that so difficult to understand? Can I present another piece of evidence?
Let me just say one thing. Business headquarters, or whatever you want to call it, may have moved, but you may have multiple locations. For purposes of valuation, which we're not talking about today, but for purposes of valuation, when they do business personal property, it's not dependent on where the headquarters is, it's dependent on the physical location. So if there's business personal property, it's 7401.
There is no physical location in Comal County, Texas. The only physical location is in San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas. The renditions were given to Bexar County. They have evidence that shows that, where the lawyer from Bexar County, Bexar Appraisal District, says that. But they didn't want to talk about it, okay? But they presented it in the evidence pack. I have it. I'd be happy to show it to you if you want to look at my book.
Just let me ask you a question, if you don't mind, sir. So Missy, so if it's determined that they don't really have any business personal property at this 7401 FM 2673, I mean, in essence, in future years, you would have a zero valuation for business personal property if it was deemed that way, right?
Well, while he was talking, I was trying to find where Morton Falls Publishing Company is being taxed in Bexar County, and we can't find it. When we pull up 8831 Sagebrush, it is a residence in the name of Douglas Kirk. But I don't have a personal property in Bexar County for the Morton Falls Publishing Company.
But let me ask you a question.
And if it's not there in Comal County, then
But I guess I'm thinking, okay, so what, even if there is another office, or whatever you want to call it, in Bexar County, if there's a business being operated out of this location, regardless of what's going on elsewhere, you would still have business personal property to be valued at this
Correct.
location. So it doesn't
Yes.
matter where the headquarters is, right?
yes.
Okay. All right, you were going to present something else, sir?
Okay, so here are some recent newspapers. This one is January 5th, 2022. So I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
And I just have 3. This is August 17th, 2022.
What are we looking for here?
Look for the masthead on page 2. And verify the date on the newspaper.
Okay. And what specifically did you want us to look at?
Look at the address.
You see?
Shall I point it out for you?
Oh, you mean down here?
You got it.
Okay.
Now, I asked the district to give me the date on the document they presented. They don't have a date. But I've got evidence here that has a date.
Okay.
I publish this every single week. I've done it for 26 years.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna see the veracity of this, but that doesn't necessarily negate, if this building is business personal property, it still would be subject to valuation.
It does not.
Okay.
There is no business personal property belonging to Morton Falls Publishing Company in Comal County. None. 0. The business moved. Why can't people understand that a business can move?
If you Google it, what comes up? If you Google
I have no idea. Now, they've presented a bunch of evidence that they Googled, which is all way out of date. So I don't think using the internet is a good source of facts. There's a ton of material there that's incorrect. That newspaper, unless you think I just went out overnight and made that newspaper is the best evidence you're going to get, and so is that document that shows the DBA in San Antonio.
So what you're really questioning is there should be a valuation of 0 business personal property at this location. Even though the protest form says situs, you're really talking about, what did you have in there, 12,000?
12,000. And this right here, this check mark is property is not located in this appraisal district.
Can you blow that up? I didn't see the check mark.
That is a option, sorry. Property is not located in this appraisal district, or otherwise should not be included on the
That
appraisal
was not
district's
checked.
record. It was not checked. Citus does not say it doesn't belong in Comal County. It just means us.
Right. How was the 12,260? I know we're talking, it's not a valuation, but was that because of lack of rendition, the 12,260?
It's been that same value for
Okay.
years.
Okay. So I think what your real argument, if I'm understanding this correctly, even though you're referring to it as situs, you're really saying you don't have any business personal property at this location, so therefore you shouldn't be assessed any value, right? Is that correct?
That is correct, but that's what situs is, location.
Well, I think that for purposes of this, the location is correct, is described correctly. Whether or not it should have any property assessed is another matter, and so.
What needs,
I'll tell you what would happen, Mr. Tobias, if we got this and it says property is not located in this appraisal district. That would have triggered
Right.
me calling or her calling saying, where is it? You would have said Bear County. We would have gotten on Bear County's website to make sure that they do have it under Morton Falls Publishing. They do have the business. And right now, we can't find it. I don't know if it's not under Morton Falls Publishing, but that would have said, okay, we're gonna go out there. We're gonna look. If it's still there, then it stays in Comal. It's gotta be taxed somewhere, whether it's Comal or Bear. And right now, it doesn't show it's in Bear.
the chief appraiser came to the property and spent 2 hours inspecting on July 31st, 2019.
He's no longer here. So it's not something I can, so
Well, I guess at the time, he could have said, oh, I found a newspaper office,
Okay. So, sir,
but he didn't.
as of January 1, 2022, you're saying that you didn't have any business personal property at this address, is that correct?
That is, which address?
At F74?
Correct. None in Comal County. Zero addresses in Comal County.
I'm going to just stop for a second here and say that, okay, even though the protest is referencing the situs, which I think is correct, the real issue is not the situs, but rather whether or not business personal property should have been assessed at this location. It does not appear, based on oral testimony provided by the owner, that there was not any business personal property as of January 1, 2020. It probably was like that probably for a couple of years. But
Since we moved in 2018. Okay, so, and we've
it just was not.
We've done renditions to Bear Appraisal District in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Now, I'm sorry? To Bear County.
So I think what I'd like to do, unless there's an objection from either side, I think the situs is correct as it's located, but the fact is that right now the district has a valuation of $12,260 of business personal property. Based on oral testimony, does not appear that there's any as of January 1. So I'm going to recommend, even though it's not listed as a question of value of market or equity, that the valuation of the business personal property be zero.
I do have an objection to that.
And
I do.
what is the nature of the objection?
Because we have not gone out there, and we don't find this on Bear County. So it's just not gonna get, is Morton Falls Publishing just not gonna be assessed at all for 2022? Where are the rendition, do you have a copy of the rendition with the account number for Bear County? So we can find it.
I do, but I didn't bring it here because it's irrelevant to Comal County.
But
if
you're
you
saying
want
it's
it,
relevant,
go
and
to
you're
Bear.
saying it's over there.
If you want it, go to Bear County and get it. And if you're
Highly that you put this as zero.
if you're calling me a liar,
I'm not calling you a liar. I'm saying that based on the information we have from your publication, whenever that date was, at one point, you were there at that site. Were you not?
of course.
Okay.
What
So
is
that's
the
why we have that.
What is the problem in understanding that in the state of Texas, a person has the freedom to move his business from point A to point B? When you present a bunch of out-of-date information, it's irrelevant.
And you have the freedom to provide us with the information that is 100% contradictory to this.
I
That
have
would be
I have
the
presented a
from
tremendous
there.
I have presented a tremendous amount of information to Comal Appraisal District. Comal Appraisal District won't listen. This is a vendetta. I'm being harassed. I shouldn't even be here today.
Well, no, I think if there was a rendition filed showing zero, they would have addressed it. This was filed incorrectly. That's, I think, part of the confusion. So I understand the district's objection. Is there any way to verify anything with Bear County?
I'm trying, but we don't.
Can we take a break?
There's
until they
nothing
can get
under
through Bear
Morton,
County? Is
there's
that
nothing
possible?
under,
That's really the answer.
the only thing that's under that address for Morton Falls is a residential property. We don't even find it under Morton Falls, which is what it was that he presented. We don't have a Morton Falls in Bear County. Or it's not on their website.
You couldn't access business personal property on,
Yes, you can.
or you can on Bear County? Okay.
Every
And there's-
property that's assessed is.
And there's
made public.
nothing, would it be under a different business name?
No, it's under Morton Falls Publishing Company. They have a letter from the attorney. They didn't present, but they sent it to me. Okay, it was evidence that they sent in the evidence pack. And he says that the property was rendered in Bear County. Now, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why it's so hard for Comal Appraisal District to admit they're wrong.
Did you move or anything? Did you move from Comal County to another county or to move the business?
I moved the business from Comal County to San Antonio. I started all of my efforts in San Antonio. That's the house where I grew up. And it's okay to run a business out of your house. You don't seem to understand how small of a business this is. You're looking at the entire company, minus my laptop. You're looking at the entire company. There are no employees. So they're expecting to find the Herald Zeitun, and it's just not the case. I don't get it. I don't understand why they won't admit they're wrong.
Sir, can we take a look at the letter?
Absolutely.
The letter said it was rendered.
Now, I'm sorry I've got my own personal notes on it. That's the only copy I have. They could put it on the screen, but they choose not to.
So they're saying that
Even Bear County's not
So this says,
confirming.
as of the date, this is, as of the date of this letter, which is June of 2020, the Bear Appraisal District staff has been unable to verify the existence of a business at the above referenced location through physical inspection of the sagebrush address. As of this date of this letter, searches. Okay, they're saying that they only searched for it, they could only find the New Braunfels address. The location is not within Bear County.
Within Bear County.
This would be evidence from, it seems to be evidence from the appraisal district.
And it's going back to the Saddler Road.
Right.
But I think, well, so where is the equipment located?
I'm sorry?
Where is the equipment located?
In San Antonio.
Well, but then the letter from the Bear Appraisal District says that,
Okay, they said they weren't able to verify it. Now, it doesn't say it there, but you know how they attempted to verify it? They drove by and said there was no sign outside. I wrote them back and I said, I must be an idiot. I'm going to put up a sign in a residential neighborhood that I'm operating a business in the house. Now, if you want to question operating a business in the house, how many people do that?
Property is not taxed, so they didn't tax
It looks like it was at one point. They had it on the roll for 19 and 20, and it says the correction. The appraisal district has deleted the property from its appraisal roll for 19 and 20, and the correction for 19 is being made under section 2525C3.
well, that's because they couldn't confirm it as a.
And it's because Rufino Lozano and the Bear Appraisal chief appraiser got on the phone and talked about it and decided who was going to take the property. So they're both wrong. They didn't go and verify. They say we were unable to verify. Nobody called me on the phone and said, hey, can we come to the office? These people haven't done it. The Bear Appraisal District hasn't done it. If you think that there's business personal property in Comal County, prove it.
Is your home address on Sagebrush Drive?
My home address is 1850 Old Saddler Road. That's where I live.
Okay, so what's on that address? Yeah, what's at Sagebrush in San Antonio?
Morton Falls Publishing Company.
What's consisting of what? What is there, equipment?
Very little equipment, a laptop, some awards, copies of the newspaper, which I gave you, that kind of stuff. Do you know how you produce a newspaper today?
Okay, and that's in a residential.
It's in a residential neighborhood. You get on the computer, you type it up, fill out your material, and then you send it to the printer. That's it.
Have you been taxed by Bear County?
I'm sorry?
Has Morton been taxed by Bear County?
They chose not to tax it.
They were at one point, 19 and 20, but they went back and corrected the roll and took them off of 19 and 20, and that's when Comel put it on for 19 and 20. It has to be somewhere on the roll. And Bear County said that they didn't do it because
Well, the
whatever
one
reason is-
benefit, if Bear County's not taxing you and you do have the property there, to make it equitable, it has to be taxed somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Did you read the letter?
If you're gonna do 0, is he gonna go back and tell Bear County, okay, go put it back on?
The value based upon the rendered equipment was estimated to be $300. This amount below the threshold set by the Texas Property Tax Code, Section 11.145, which provides for exemption of tangible personal property having a taxable value of less than $500.
And that's Bear County?
That's the letter that you sent me in the evidence pack. Doesn't anybody read?
Yes, I read it. I asked if that letter was from Bear County.
Yes.
That letter was from Bear County. Okay.
Bear Appraisal District. It's from their Director of Litigation.
Okay.
Right, but they also didn't do a physical inspection, so how they came up with their numbers, who knows?
And since Mr. Kirk is very,
Remember, it said we were unable to determine.
Mr. Kirk is very good, you're very good at keeping all your paperwork and showing what you have, what you don't have, but you've never sent us a rendition here. Here. We've sent
Okay,
letters to you.
Is that the purpose of this hearing today?
The purpose
Did I
of
send
this
you
is
a rendition on January 1st, 2022? No, I did not. I sent it to the Bear Appraisal District.
That
And if
clearly
they,
stated
how they
for
choose
19
to,
and 20 that it wasn't gonna be on their roll anymore. Why would you send a rendition?
because that's where the property is.
But you've got to-
Because the Texas Property Tax Code requires me to do it.
Yes,
It doesn't require me to send it out to 254 counties.
it requires you to send it to the place where the equipment is located.
That's correct.
We say it's located in Bear. Bear says it's not. We say it's located in Bear. I don't know what else.
Bear does not say it's not. They said they were unable to verify.
Okay, I think,
That's not the same thing as it's not.
okay, I think we've heard enough, it's gonna way past what we probably should have gone through, but, I just wanna make sure that both sides aired what was there. So I'm gonna close the evidentiary portion of this hearing, and we're gonna decide as a panel, what to do next, so,
First, so we need to discuss what it means when you see closed evidentiary. That means that there will be no discussion from either the district or yourself. Okay. And you're going to talk here, but in your presence, so you may understand and hear what we're discussing.
Yes, thank you.
So, based on what I've heard Mr. Kirk say, I am pretty confident that his business is probably in San Antonio. However, there appears to be confusion between Bear County, based on that letter that I just read, and the appraisal district as to where it should be taxed. Now, it is clear from what I read that Bear's not taxing him currently. He has to be taxed somewhere. So since he's not being taxed in Bear, and it has to be taxed somewhere. Then I would support the appraisals district, but with recommendation that this be cleared up prior to the next opportunity to the next tax year can be fixed. Because you can't have a situation where he's not taxing either one.
right.
And Bear has just said it's closed, and the bottom it says this is a closed issue, so they're not looking into it anymore. So I say tax it here, fix it before next year.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, you Google it and it comes up Saddler Road. It doesn't come up San Antonio when you Google his business, which doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, Google's not official though.
Yeah, but that's what we're arguing about. It's just a little piece of information, that's all.
okay, so your recommendation
This
is,
is for Saddler Road, Canyon Lake.
okay. I understand the objections of the owner, and there is quite a bit of confusion with this. But I agree, somewhere it has to be taxed. Bear County's choosing not to tax based on their information. But I think in the interim, I agree with my colleague here that it probably should be taxed co-mill, and that it should be resolved prior to next year. I think providing a rendition statement to the district so that they can go out there and look and verify that, I think will rectify that on an ongoing basis. So now this all started though as a protest on situs. It wasn't a protest on valuation. So so that's how the way we need to address it is to indicate that the site is as indicated by the district is correct. And
Your point of view.
it's the 7401 FM 2673 Canyon Lake.
Okay.
So really what we're doing is, if I understand you correctly, is that we want to affirm that the situs is correct as presented by the district. And we're really not addressing the valuation.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, are you looking for a motion?
Yes.
Okay, so I move that for property ID 420416, case number 13002, tax year 2022, the situs location be indicated as 7401 FM 2673, Canyon Lake, Texas 78133.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. So for property ID 420416, case number 13002, for the tax year 2022, the ARB panel reaffirms the situs as 7401 FM 2673 Canyon Lake, zip 78133. Sir, you'll be receiving a board order of determination by certified mail to the address of record within a month. If you are satisfied with our decision, you don't need to do anything more. If you're still dissatisfied, you may appeal our decision. Information about the appeal options will be included with that order. Be careful to follow the instructions, as these procedures and deadlines are mandated by state law. So that concludes our meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. And I can tell you now, as soon as I get your order of determination, I will appeal this to district court.
That's your prerogative. You need your reason time.
Thank you. Do you want that? Do you want that?
What?
Any of this?
I have to keep them.
Are we done?
Yes, sir.
How about